After WPHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
It's Wednesday night, time for the Paranormal Experience Radio Show with host Kat Hobson. Kick back, relax, and get ready to learn. Welcome to the show. Now, here's Kat.
Hello there. Welcome to Paranormal Experience Radio. I am your host, Kat Hobson, and I just have to tell you that I am so excited about tonight's show. We have got fantastic times to share. Just got back from West Virginia, which, by the way, is gorgeous. I totally see people living there. It's all rolling hills and just great beauty. And spooky, because we were at the Lake Shawnee Haunted Abandoned Amusement Park, and you may have seen that in the June episode of The Dead Files, which features my friend Steve DeShavi as well as Amy Allen, and it was unreal. Amy taught them some things about kind of making the activity not dangerous, which I appreciate, but it is still a very, very active location. And I was there with Ghost Hunt Weekends, which is owned by my friends Chad and Stacy Morin. It is one of the best groups of people you will ever find on the planet to investigate, work, or play with. They have a crew like no other. You're always safe. You've got the newest equipment to look at and experience, and you have Felix. Felix Martin is one of my dearest friends. He is a hoot and a half. He is the best paranormal investigator to just go and learn things with. Learn a location, learn a piece of equipment, share ideas. He's not afraid of trying new stuff. And the very, very, very first time I ever investigated with him, I feared for his life. And he's chuckling. I hear you, Felix. So please welcome my friend, Felix Martin. Hi.
Hello, Kat.
How are you? I heard you chuckle.
Yes, I remember the first time you met me. I jumped the fence and chased the shadow figure.
You did. And it was because I'm from Birmingham and I knew where we were. You are not and did not. So it was like, what is he doing? He's going to die right here in front of God and everybody. And you didn't. So it was good.
No, I'm the type that if I hear something or see something, I am going towards it.
Yes, you are.
I'm going to verify it. I'm going to debunk it or verify it.
Well, that was, just so y'all know, we were at a Ghost Hunt Weekends event at Sloss Furnace. I was just sitting over in the wheelhouse having a nice, calm conversation with Joe Chin, and across the radio comes, "We need a FLIR. We need a thermal imaging camera right now. Now." And that was Chad. And it was because everyone had seen the shadow figure that Felix leapt the fence over and ran down an alley to go and try to find. It was just, it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen anyone do. The craziest thing I'd ever seen anyone do. And it made me realize that this was a guy who was serious about what we were doing. You were brilliant.
Oh, I'm always serious.
You are.
Well,
about what you're doing at the time, yes.
Yeah, and what I love doing is I'm a skeptic. So I am going to go towards it regardless and figure out if it's human or not. and I chased that shadow and it disappeared through a wall. So it definitely was not someone that was going to kill me. It could have been. But I never back down. I mean, I have gone through some scary areas by myself. I get ghosts to pick on me because they know it. So, but very enjoyable. I love doing this. I've been doing it for so long, and it's like on to the next, like they say on Ghost Hunters.
Yes. Well, gosh, I mean, we have been to so many different places investigating, and some of them multiple times because the activity is always there, but it's not always consistent, and I like the variations that we run into. Where are some of your favorite places that you've been? And you can't say Lake Shawnee because we're going to cover that in a minute.
Oh, God. One of my favorite, my all-time favorite is Old South Pittsburgh Hospital.
Yes. Tragedy.
Yeah, and I hope we get back there again. I had so much stuff happen to me there. To me, as far as everywhere I've investigated, to me that was the most haunted. My other favorite is the Thomas House. Thomas
Yes.
House has never disappointed me. From the hotel itself, and for the ones that don't know, the Thomas House is a bed and breakfast in Red Boiling Springs, Tennessee. And between the activity in the house plus the church across the street, I mean, you cannot leave there disappointed. Something either recording. I mean, I was in the church one time, and it was dead. No pun
Yes.
intended. It was just dead. I was not feeling anything. Everything was quiet. I couldn't get a response, and I left the recorder there. Chad came after me, and he basically didn't get anything. When I went back to review, I've only listened to an hour and 29 minutes so far of that investigation. I have 69 EVPs. I have never in my entire life gotten that many EVPs in 3 nights of investigation, let alone an hour and a half. So, I mean, that was crazy. And we're talking about Class A. There was one, because every time I go in there first, if they don't do or say anything to me, I always threaten, well, because they don't like Chad. They don't like me either in there, but they don't like Chad, so I always threaten, well, if you don't talk to me or you don't do this, I'm going to send Chad over. And nothing, absolutely nothing. And when I was done, when it was time to rotate, I was getting all my equipment. All the guests were outside, and one of the EVPs said, "Go, nice try." It's like, oh my God, they're mocking me now. What? But just like that, you heard it that clear, and there was nobody in the building
I just
except me
love that.
and Amy. So that was just incredible. I mean, that was just crazy. I've never had that many EVPs. It was just keep riding, and it was just crazy. And Chad had the same thing. He was telling Chad to go and get out because they don't want Chad, but he never heard it either.
I just think that's bizarre.
It is. But, I mean, I guess it's because they know us already so much.
Yes.
So I feel, because my recorder was behind me, so I feel like he was standing right behind me, just answering me. And I couldn't hear him.
Yeah. Well, then, have you ever been in a situation where that happened and you felt like it was absolutely imperative to them that they let you know and you missed it?
Well, and I feel like when you do an investigation, sometimes I like when you do a burst, where you ask questions and you go back and listen right away. Because I feel like if they're answering your questions, even though I think that night he was just messing around with us.
Well, yeah.
He was a gentleman. But I think if they answer your questions, but you ignore him because you don't hear him, they go away. Well, they can't hear me, so I'm out of here. you know. So sometimes when you do the burst and you get an answer, or sometimes when you listen live and you can hear them, because sometimes you can't hear it even when you're listening live. When you go back and review, it's like, oh, I didn't hear that, but it's there. But I think they just go away. They get tired of trying to answer you and you're just ignoring them.
Exactly. You know, I think we've talked about when I was investigating Curaway Hospital here in Birmingham, and I had somebody in the trauma center respond to me, but we were using a ghost box, and I have a very difficult time with the white noise with hearing at the moment. And when I got home and was reviewing my evidence, there was a man with a very pained voice about something that mattered so much to him who responded to my question, and I didn't hear him. And I was devastated. I'm still devastated, you know, but I was just so sad because I completely felt like I let this guy down, and I can't get back in there. No one can. And so, you know, I walked away leaving somebody hanging, and I just felt so bad for that. It bothers me. It bothers me every time I ponder it, or if I come across evidence when I'm, you know, going through stuff to think about posting, or
Right.
it still gets me.
I mean, there's been times that I've reviewed and I heard, you know, and it's like, man, I wish I would have heard that when I was there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've gotten all kinds, like children trying to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
We don't hear them, and it breaks your heart because you weren't able to answer them. You know, and that
Right.
happens a lot.
Well, at the Thomas house, that does happen a lot because there
Yeah, it
are
does.
several children there.
I remember when I was communicating with Robbie, and she was communicating with the REM pod,
Mm-hmm.
and she drained it. It completely went dead. And then I asked, you know, because I wasn't getting any more responses, and I thought, well, maybe she went away. But then I said, Robbie, are you still with me? And she goes, uh-huh.
Oh,
So yeah, that was cute because that confirmed that she was that was the one I was communicating with. You know,
exactly.
so
Yes.
that was really good to hear the response, and I continued talking to her even though the REM pod was dead. I didn't know it was dead until I went to pick it up, and that's when I figured out, oh, she drained it.
Well, how many children have you spoken to there?
At the Thomas house,
Mm-hmm.
I have spoken at the Thomas house itself 3. Confirmed 3, but I'm still debating between Sarah and Robbie if it's the same person or it's 2 different. I know what Robbie died from, but when we communicate with Sarah, she's having abdominal pain.
Oh,
So I got a feeling that Sarah was brought there when the springs were open and there was that quack there that would tell you people would come visit him with their ailments, and he would tell them, go drink this water or go bathe in that one, because there's 5 different mineral springs. And, you know, I call them the quack, but I got a feeling she was brought there maybe with appendicitis, and it didn't work, and she might have died. Again, you know, I can't confirm it. I've tried to get Kyle Cobb, which is the great researcher, and he can't find it either. But again, you know, records there have burned in the what do you call it? Oh, I can't think. City Hall burned down 3 times, so all records of the area were lost. And because we came and find Robbie, and Robbie was a little girl that fell in a fire across the street somewhere, and they brought her to the Thomas house because at the time the owner was a doctor, and they laid her in the bed downstairs, and she died there. But again, you're talking about horse and buggy time. So when she was eventually probably taken to a hospital, who knows, probably in Nashville.
right.
You know, maybe she was declared dead in